Hello, guys, and welcome back to Strong Opinion Hibs. This is episode number 8. I'm your host, as always, Calvin, and I'm joined once again by my good mate, Charlie. How you doing, Charlie?
Not bad, mate. Yourself?
Yes, doing good, mate, doing good. Wee bit frustrating at the weekend and that, but we'll get into it.
Aye.
Just before we start, we wanted to say we're obviously sponsored by Hybees Pins. We talked about that last week. If you haven't heard about that, you can check out episode 7 where we introduced our sponsor. We put out a competition on the Twitter page. Charlie, you put that out. How do you feel that went?
It was good, mate. Aye, good interaction, and well done to Lewis McKinnon, who won.
Aye. So Lewis won a Derek Riordan pin. We're getting that sent out to him, and some stickers to go along with it as well. There'll be another competition coming soon, so keep your eyes peeled on the Twitter this week. We'll be posting another Derek Riordan badge is up for grabs, so we'll be posting another question. And you'll have to obviously respond with the correct answer. Then, as you've seen on the Twitter, we'll put the names into a wheel, and then we'll let the wheel pick the winner, and we'll get that sent out to you. But it's been good with the sponsors and stuff so far, Charlie. Have you enjoyed it?
Aye, it's nice to be only in the game for 2 months and have a sponsor already. I think I'm glad that we've got that, and looking forward to seeing how that partnership develops.
Me too, mate. Me too. So keep your eyes peeled on that, but. Mate, we'll get stuck into it. I branded this one the David Tanner Derby, which I thought might have took off a bit more than it did, to be honest with you, mate. I thought a lot of folk would have laughed at that.
Aye.
But what did you think of the match at the weekend, mate?
I was very frustrated watching it, and I think purely based on the fact that it didn't look like we put a glove on Rangers. I think first half we were very slow to start, I felt, and probably were the better team first half, and then obviously Rangers get the goal. But it was just a bit frustrating because for their second goal as well, it looked like the defence was pretty slow to react to Kent coming towards the box, and pick that one out. Marciano is all I've got to say about the goal. It was a cracking goal for Ryan Kent, but a bit frustrated, but thought we'd done all right to get back into it when we did, and I think we were unlucky eventually.
I'd agree with you, mate. Whether you took a point, obviously, before we went ahead and played the match, or were you looking for all three?
I would have looked for a point. I would have been happy with a point, but I think we actually probably should have got a point because we had a goal disallowed that wasn't really much in it, I felt. But I would have taken a point.
I would have taken a point as well, mate, because I feel like obviously with Aberdeen winning, They played St Johnstone, which is obviously they're bottom of the top 6, so that's probably the easiest game left in the top 6, really. And obviously they beat St Johnstone, so that did pile the pressure on us a wee bit. And I think I'm not saying folk have got carried away on Twitter and that, but I think some people have got a little bit ahead of ourselves because even now I think we've already finished and we're going to be playing Europe in that next season, but we're not yet, so we need to be really careful with that. And I think with them winning, I think a point would have been an amazing result. And to be honest with you, I think we were worth it. We were worth at least a point at the weekend there.
Definitely,
mate. Some of the things I picked up on is even that first goal they scored a goal that was disallowed. And something that I noticed was it was almost like we were giving them too much respect. It's like we were giving them too much respect. I feel like we were just sitting off them and letting them pass the ball about and stuff like that. And I think the way to beat these Rangers teams and Celtic teams in the Old Firm is when you're going there, like, get in their face, like, obviously give the opponent respect and stuff. But I think it's important to try and put your own foot down in the game and try and be dominant in the game as well. Because at the end of the day, it's 11v11. Do you know what I mean? And they're all professional football players. And to be honest with you, man for man, I don't think we're that much of a lesser team. To be honest with you. I think they're stronger in some positions, and I think we're stronger in some as well. So, I think that's shown as well over the last couple of sort of matches we've had with Rangers is that we've been able to hold our own. Do you know what I mean? And probably give more as well. So I would agree with you, mate. Frustrating, but not surprised. I would say frustrated, but I'm not surprised.
There was bits of the game that I thought we were very, very good, and I think we had a few chances. We're taking some shots outside the box, and I probably would have liked to have seen, Boyle had one where he could have threaded Nisbet in, and I think if he'd threaded Nisbet in, we could have maybe had a shot on target, and I just didn't think we put Rangers under enough pressure. But
did you see his reaction to that? when he never got played through. Kenny was jumping up and down like he was upset with it. So
that's
it's good to see that he's hungry again.
That's what Nisbet's been missing, I felt, for the past since January, the end of January, and I think that's good to see. That was good to see him looking hungry again, because he'll be looking towards the summer for the Euros now, So, I think
that's right.
Having a bit hunger about him and being visually angry when somebody's not threading him in, then that's all positive signs.
I would say something as well, mate. I think that we looked very dangerous going forward, especially down that right hand side where Boyle was. We had them on toast every time, man. It was just unlucky. We were unlucky in the final third, just not being able to put the ball in the net. But yeah, we looked really dangerous down that right hand side with Boyle, and it comes back to bite me, because I think that's a trick missed by Scotland. Like, letting them go sign for Australia and that, because there's a lot of noise about James Forrest getting back in the Scotland team and that, and I'm not sure. I'm obviously biased because I'm a Hibs supporter, but I don't think there's much between them, mate.
No, I would
especially
say
if Boyle could get that like next level coaching as well. I mean, because he's came on leaps and bounds since being at Dundee. He wasn't even getting a game for Dundee when we done that's what we had us. So I do think it's a positive sign, but I don't know if we'll utilise that as much going forward. That sort of attack with Boyle, just because we're playing Rangers like we were countering on the break, but we look so dangerous. But when we play another team like St Johnstone or Aberdeen, something like that, I've not really seen that much of that same type of thing, because it's a different game plan almost, But hopefully we can utilise it a little bit more.
It does seem like against these St Johnstone and Aberdeen teams that we're just sitting and we're just waiting for the ball to come to us, whereas against Rangers, when we get the ball, we're just fast moving. And I think Martin Boyle played really well. I thought he was one of our better players on Sunday, and it was nice to see him have that kind of drive about his game against Rangers, because I think when he gets going, there's no a left back in the country that's stopping him, I would say.
I'd agree with you, mate. I think he's massively underrated as well. I think he's pivotal to what we sort of do as well.
Yeah.
And we've said that in past podcasts as well. One of the things I was just going to touch on here was that some of the defending I seen for Hibs at the weekend that I thought was poor. Like I said earlier, like, backing off, and it's almost like you're sort of inviting them to have a shot.
Like
that first goal they scored, I didn't care if it was offside or something was wrong with it. Even the defending, it's like you're just letting them pass it around us. It was like no one's getting out there and like putting their foot through the ball or making a tackle, or even the one where when Aribo scores, I think it's Jack. Kent. I think Kent's got the ball and he's sort of in the middle there. There's 4 Hibs players. I watched it just in the highlights today. There's 4 Hibs players just standing around them. You can't give someone of that talent, that time with the ball, unfortunately. And we paid the price. And the same thing with Jack as well. No, Jack. Kent. When he scored his goal, mate, he was on the right hand side, right? He was actually in a right mid position, and he's came right across the whole front of our defence, and we're all just watching. Boom, 2-0. And at that time, you kind of look at it and you're thinking, well, that's what happens when you take your chances, eh?
And that was the biggest frustration I had watching that goal going. Is I think it was maybe Gogic and Irvin were the two that were closest to him as he cuts inside, and they're just I think they're just waiting that extra 2 seconds too long to come over. And I think because Gogic is that type of player that when someone cuts inside, he should be there just waiting for them to, not snap him or, but just put him under that wee bit of pressure that I think if he had, I think it was they were 2 steps too far back. I think if he'd taken that step forward, I don't think he would have got the shot away there.
Just make his presence known, eh? And I think he's seen that. I think he realised he was late to react as well, because he sort of put in like an extra step to get there. But overall, mate, I just thought they were unlucky. I thought Hibs were unlucky, but a lot of folk have been saying that, on Twitter that was a free shot at Rangers. What's your opinion on that? Like, just having a free shot at them, like, does it really matter that we've lost? Because going forward, it's probably a game we were maybe expected to lose.
I'm not sure I like that opinion from Hibs fans that, it doesn't matter, we've lost. Like, we want to win every game, And I think it was one of those games where, we had no pressure going into it, and I wish we'd just felt that way going into it and just actually played football. You know, I think I sometimes do feel like, and it's been a frustration I've had since probably Lennon left, is that when we go up against the Glasgow 2, that we just expect to lose, and I think that mentality sort of been lost from the club, because when we had Stubbs and we had Lennon, you know, playing these teams and Hearts as well, to an extent, that we would, you know, we'd go in and we're thinking this could go either way just now. And there was a few times where Lennon, we beat Celtic at Ibrox, we beat Rangers away every time that Lennon was there, I think. And I just wish that we would go in and just didn't have any pressure on you and just go and play football and take the game to them, eh? But
I'd agree with you, mate. It does almost feel like back to when I was growing up, and it's like you're going to Ibrox and you're expecting, like, you know, you're not going to get anything, eh? Do you know what I mean? Like maybe once in a blue moon you'll get a result, like sort of the Ivan Sproul results were like freak results. So you didn't really expect that, or you'd nick a 2-1 with like Danny Gilbay scoring late or something. But under Lennon and Stubbs, like I felt like we're going there for a game. Like we're going there and like we're playing our own game. And it's like nowadays, didn't get me wrong, I actually do think that Jack Ross has done brilliant. And I do think the way he set up against Rangers there was probably spot on. And, you know, I think there's only so much Ross can do, that it does come down to the players. And I think that we miss a couple unlucky chances, like the Nisbet chance, the Boyle chance. Ken Hanlon has a header that he should absolutely bury. Do you know what I mean? We get the goal disallowed. I think it's unfortunate. But I do also think that we've lost that mentality, just as you're saying, when it's like we should be expecting something. The games were a lot closer back under those two, and I think it was because, you know, that sort of winning mentality we had. But nowadays it does seem like we're sort of back to like when I was growing up, like Mowbrays and Pat Linens and that kind. You're almost sort of, it's just maybe we'll get something, maybe we'll know. Always seems to be like, I dare want to say we don't set the bar at our own level, but it almost seems like whoever we're playing will play to that level. So like if we're playing Rangers, we'll play really, really well. And, you know, like really well, and it'll be like one of our best games of the season. But then next week we might be playing like St Johnstone or something, or Livingston, or we might be playing Livingston, like we're going to be next week. And I'm not sure if we're going to be we'll probably be at the same sort of level as Livingston. We won't be able to maintain that sort of high sort of intensity and like pressure and overall sort of not team spirit, but over sort of levels of ability against Livingston. I think the Livingston game will be a very close game.
I think so, mate. I think so. They're always close. Libby.
Strange that, mate. I just think that whoever we're playing, we're sort of on par, or maybe just a wee bit better, or a wee bit worse than, you know. What did you think of the Martin Boyle dive, mate? There's been a lot of speculation about that.
I don't
being
think
branded, obviously.
I don't think it was a dive.
No.
I do think he went down a little bit easy, but I think my biggest frustration with that whole thing is that there was a lot of Hibs fans saying, "Oh, why is he getting booked for that?" and it's not a dive. And I think the honest answer is, I think he got booked because he gave the referee the option to book him. You know, if he's not went down under any contact, it's not a dive. I think he's expecting contact, but I was just a bit frustrated because if he'd taken that extra step, I think it was maybe Goldson was defending against him. I think Goldson would have made a bit of contact if he's trying to niggle his way through. And I just think that he's only been booked because the referees had that option because he's went down without any contact. And it wasn't a dive, and it certainly wasn't a foul either. So, you know, it's just unfortunate that the referees noticed that he's went down easily and he's booked him. But I think Hadji done the same thing in the second half and wasn't booked. So it's a bit inconsistent for the ref, I would say.
Well, that's the thing, mate. That's a really good point you've made there, actually. But one of the things is I think Boyle is sometimes too quick for his own good. Like, Ken, it's almost like when you're running full pelt at someone and it's like a sudden stop, it's like you can't really get out of the way yet. And sometimes like these collisions happen, but he didn't appeal for a penalty or anything. So I thought the booking was a bit harsh. And obviously, you know, it's an important game, so that sort of puts him on. You know, he's obviously then walking on eggshells for the rest of the game, so that he doesn't because mate, if he gets another yellow card and gets sent off like that, he's vital for us in the next couple of games going forward. Do you know what I mean? So sort of put him back on his leash a wee bit. That I thought that's what was my opinion there.
I read that. Oh, sorry, mate, go on.
No, I was just saying I thought he was hard done by, but to be honest with you should know going through there already. You're not getting any favours. You're getting no favours for the officials or the refs or anything when you're playing the two ugly sisters, because their fans just make so much noise about it, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. I read an interesting point on Twitter earlier on. Some of the Hibs media team had tweeted about Boyle, because Boyle actually hit out in the press earlier on about the comments made for people saying he's a diver and sort of hit back.
John Hughes and that.
John Hughes, and I think the interesting stat is that Martin Boyle is one of the most fouled players in the league, and I think it is because he's rapid.
Believe it,
He's very quick and he's just wiped out. And I think it was actually a Hearts fan had tweeted back to the Hibs boys saying that he said that it wasn't a booking, but the only thing is that if you're it was also to do with the Porteous foul that wasn't a foul, but he's like, if you're a strong player and you overuse your strength, it's a foul. And if you're a quick player and you overuse your speed, you're getting a foul. So it's one of these interesting ones that, like, if you're a strong player like Porteous says, you're going to foul somebody if you overuse it. And Boyle is obviously overfouled because he's too quick. But I was just frustrated that he got booked for it, because it wasn't a booking, but I was frustrated that the ref had the option as well. It
was a shame. What did you think of the disallowed goal as well, then, mate? It was weird because my stream cut out,
Aye.
So I didn't actually see it, I mean, I was using other ways of viewing the match. So the stream crashed, mate, because I wasn't paying for however much it was to give them any money, because I'm pretty sure they still drew that paint. Mind they had the face paint in place when they were due them 60 quid, so that's probably where the money would have went. But no, I wasn't giving them any money, so I watched it on the stream, but the stream like froze at that point, so I didn't actually see that we'd scored until later on. But I've watched it, mate, and it's just like I seen a point that one of the Rangers fans made on Twitter was that the whistle had already went when he headed it in. And I thought, that can't be right. And to be fair, I watched it back and he was right. But when you're playing, like, you put the ball in the net and then you react to whatever's going on. Do you know what I mean? Or you put the ball at the park. But I just thought, like, it's typical, mate, because these things cost us. Like, referees have actually cost us. And they cost every team. I'm not saying it's just him, but some of the decisions are vital. And it actually reminded me back to that year we got relegated, man. Griffith scores a free kick at Tynecastle, at Easter Road, that isn't given against Hearts. That cost us 3 points. Ollie Shaw scored against them as well, against Hearts. Then they count in the ghost goal. There's another 3 points. We played Dundee United, and I did care if many folk will remember this. This was the year we went down. We played Dundee United, and I'm pretty sure it was Scott Allen or it was Scott Robertson that made the tackle, and it was on the edge of the box.
That's right.
Outside the box. And they gave a penalty for it, and they scored the penalty, and we lost points there as well. Like, mate, they've cost us a lot of points over the years, like vital ones as well, like ones for staying up.
I think I don't think it was a foul, and I can't see. I think
I don't.
It's not like Hollander throws himself at the ground after being brushed on the shoulder. It looks like, and it's just. You're right. You get nothing.
Mate, the guy's about 6 foot. I mean, it takes a lot to knock you over, eh? Like how's he as a grown man? How's he falling to the ground like that?
I know.
Get a grip of yourself, eh? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get that, It was, there's nothing in it, like, and to be honest with you, if Boyle's getting booked for that, he should be getting booked for a dive as well, because it was it was crazy, man, But I mean, I've seen it before, I've seen it so many times, that it doesn't surprise me, because even the old firm with the penalties and that, you can't beat them, No. Do you know what I mean? Like, we used to get kind of extra time in that as well, as like an extra 5 minutes and that I done at the end of the games and that. It's just crazy, man, whenever you play them. But
I
do think I don't know what was wrong with it. But again, earlier in the season, Morelos makes a stamp on Porteous, and it's like nothing happens. And then he goes on and he scores when he should have been sent off. It's just like, what did he do?
And it's like we should have taken 4 points off Rangers this season, because we should have drawn every game we've played with them, and we've only taken 1. You know, I think it's just inconsistent for the referee, and it's all big decisions that have cost us. You know,
I think it's important that to look at the positives as well, though, and say that actually that's like the best team in the country. And I'd say we're holding our own, but we're getting as good as we get. Like,
we've been unlucky every time.
Mate, I think that, I didn't quote me on this, but I think they've only conceded like 8 goals this season.
Something
like
that.
And I think we must be scored at least half of them.
We've scored 3 of them.
3 of them.
So we're almost
that goal there.
Aye.
That goal there as well at the weekend. Like I've seen a lot of Rangers fans. What I've been looking at some of the tweets and that. And a lot of them are saying that Hibs look a better team than Celtic.
I mean, I think
going forward
we have been better than Celtic this season. It's just stupid results that have cost us. But
dropped a lot of points, mate. A lot of silly points like that when I was counting 3-0 and Livingston and that. And
aye.
Stupid bit.
Aye.
So last wee bit on this game, mate. What? Obviously the stream I was watching, it was coming through Rangers TV. What do you think of Thompson, man? Kevin Thompson is the commentator there.
Nah, I was annoyed by that, mate. I think the biggest thing that annoyed me about it is when he was saying, "Oh, we," and like
I can.
He's just like, I know he's employed by Rangers and he probably has to say that, but when Rangers are playing Hibs, the team that you supported as a youngster, you didn't reference them as we.
Nah, it just hits different. It's very strange, but I'd feel like I'd sold my soul.
Aye.
I could never associate myself with that. Like personally, but.
And let's remember, mate, he said he'd crawl over broken glass to leave Hibs to go there. So, I can. He won the cup with us and he was good for us when he played with us. But
we put out a wee tweet, mate, and we put out a wee tweet in the heat of the moment, and I wrote, Kevin Thompson sold his soul, 100% not a high B. Do you regard him as a Hibs legend? And on the poll, 22%, or 21.6% said yes, and 78.4% said no.
Well, there was a few boys that accidentally clicked yes, so it's probably
you being one of them. I've seen that. Mate, I'll be honest with you. Legend. I mean, he was part of the cup-winning team in that, and someone made a valid point where he cleared the ball off the line in the last minute in the 2-2 against Hearts. Right. So.
Aye.
I can see why some people might think he's a legend. Is he more of a legend than Scott Brown, a Hibs legend? Same sort of player. I mean, to me, Scott Brown's been he's been an idiot ever since he's left. Every time he's played Hibs, I've never. He's not someone that I've looked upon and admired in recent years, and that, and been. Especially with going to Aberdeen and that, Kenny could have maybe came home and finished his career with Hibs or something like that, but. I think maybe Thompson has a bit of a love-hate relationship with Hibs because he was treated quite poorly under the Butcher era.
Aye.
Kenny, he got booted out.
I think he was the first player that got his books after we got relegated.
Aye, he got booted out there.
Mm. But I mean, he won the cup with us. He's probably, I would say he's a legend for winning a cup. But no, I wouldn't.
He bounced before the 07 cup final though.
That's right. Aye.
Mind, he bounced before the 07 cup final, and Brown stayed and won the cup, so that's why I always sort of preferred Scott Brown. But he probably is in his own way a Hibs legend, I guess. But there's a lot of other players in there that he was a fantastic player first time round. Anyway, that's for sure. But I think it was mate, we had 338 votes on that poll as well, so it's not like a small pool of folk.
Aye, that's a lot. I'm not a big fan of him anymore.
Nah, me either, mate. I don't have any love for him, mate.
Nah, I can't take him, mate. I found a Hibs TV stream, so I was all right. I could listen.
Oh, did you, man? I was listening to freaking the Rangers TV, man. I was like ear bleeding stuff, man. It was brutal.
Able to listen to Tam McManus's annoying voice, but I'm not a fan of him as a commentator either.
Scored a great goal in Ibrox, Tam did.
Scored a great goal, mate. But I was able to listen to that, so that was good.
Oh, class, mate. Right, we'll move on to this. We'll put that one behind us, mate, and we'll move on to this weekend's game. We're playing Stranraer in the Cup, Scottish Cup. What's your thoughts going into that, mate? Would you make any changes to the team? Sort of rest players for the sort of European push?
I would rest. I'd maybe rest Gogic. I don't think that's a game for him. I think there's probably some wee players I'd play. Like I'd give McGuinness a shot because
I agree with you, mate.
He's in need of some match fitness, so I'd give him a Macy again. I'd play him.
Yeah, maybe a cup goalie. That makes sense. Yeah, it's quite popular to do down south in that as well. Or like Europa League in that. I know Arsenal not do that. Yeah, I think I probably McGuinness. I think McGuinness should probably start. I agree with you. Maybe dropping Gogic. Is this a game? Is this a game for like no Slivka? God, Hallberg. Is this a game you like to see Hallberg play, or is that maybe just too left field?
I mean, it could be an option for Jack Ross. Personally, I wouldn't give him the shot because I don't think he'll be here after the summer. But I think I'd maybe even start one of the younger strikers as well, like Stranraer, probably there.
We've not got much options.
No,
we've only got two, I think.
We've got wee Josh O'Connor on the bench, and Ethan Galbraith was on the squad on Sunday, so maybe, but there's not really much option, is there?
Nah, none at all, mate. So score predictions for that, mate. I think we should probably win that. I'll go for 2-0 Hibs.
I'll go.
I know that I've got one right so far, but I'll stick with 2-0.
I'll go 5-1 Hibs.
5-1. Wow, right, okay.
I think we'll brush them away, mate. I think they'll score. But 5-1.
They'll probably go 1-0 up, mate.
I wouldn't surprise me, mate.
I was going to say that, mate. It's always like, it's almost like when I said with the Livingston review, when I think they went 1-0 up. That when we drew 1-1, it's almost like Hibs need to concede a goal before they realise they're actually in a match.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we go 1-0 down against Rangers, and it's like, oh Christ, like we're actually playing today. Like let's try and get the ball moving and rolling and that. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite interesting. But I think I'll go for 2-0, mate. I'll try and I've been a wee bit out there with my last couple of predictions, like seeing a beat Rangers 3-0 and that, which I thought we were going to do. But yes, we should beat them, mate. I think we'll agree with that. Maybe I'd like to see McGuinness get a run. And I wouldn't put Slivka that. No Slivka. I wouldn't put Slivka in because he doesn't play for us. Hallberg. I wouldn't give Hallberg a match. I think it's important to get through the next round in that, and try and get that team spirit in that, and that'd be good. Right, mate. We'll just quickly mention this, mate. Next little segment here. 8 years ago today, mate. To this day, it was Hibs 4, Falkirk 3. We're obviously 3-0 down in about 20 minutes. What was your quick 30 seconds? What was your making on that game, mate?
I remember I only got tickets like 3 days before it. Me and my dad weren't going to go because we were both sick of Hibs, and he bought us tickets. And what a game of two halves, mate! Like I remember saying to my dad, like, I want to leave at 3-0 down. He's like, nah, if they score again, we'll leave. But I'm glad we stayed because that was amazing. What a comeback! But that's really all I've got.
I think on that game it was one of the craziest games I've ever seen. Like I felt every emotion possible that day. Like from like hopes of beating Falkirk and getting to the final at the start. Like I was quite amped about it. And then it was like they go 1-0 up, and it's like, surely no. 2-0 up, and you're like, oh my god, like so embarrassed now because you're thinking I'm going to get slagged at school and that, and like everything else that goes along with 3-0, you're thinking this is Edinburgh, like I actually can't believe this has happened to us. And then it's like 3-1, and it's like, oh, we glimmer of hope. 3-2, and it's like, oh, surely no. 3-3, and then 4-3. It was like just so many highs and lows through the whole game. Like it's definitely one game that sticks out in the memory as just being like one of my favourites, I guess. It was just Raj, man, to say I was there, and like obviously, looking back in that, we didn't have a great team, mate.
No.
I think we had Griffiths, and that was about it, man.
It was some day. Like I think me and my dad were the only one of 3 people on our bus who stayed to the end of the game, so that was quite nice. But it was crazy, mate. Crazy.
That was a good touch, mate. Right, mate, I'll hand over to you, and you can take us through our new segment here, mate. Something we've thought about this week that we're going to get started looking at squad numbers and episodes.
So
you tell.
We're 8 episodes in, so we thought we'd go our favourite players to wear numbers 1 to 8, and from now until we run out of numbers, we're going to go our favourite player to play with that number. So
yeah, I think Anton Courier was number 99. Very quote me on that, so we might get if we get 99 episodes, we'll see, mate. But
aye, we might have to
we'll
skip a few dodgy numbers, but
I
don't think there's been any 72s or that, so we might have to skip ahead.
No, that's a weird Celtic thing, eh? They do that,
aye.
They're 54 and that. I think McGeady was a strange number for Celtic.
He was 45, if I remember correctly.
But it's something weird, eh?
Aye, so we'll kick off with number 1, mate. Who would you say is your favourite number 1 of all time, or since you've been watching Hibs?
Favourite? Looking at the list here, mate, Riordan's name pops up. Man, that was bizarre, eh?
Aye.
Mate, that was bizarre. 0-1, that was class. I'd never seen that before, eh? I like that a lot, man. Riordan 0-1. That was class. But I'm probably going to have to build my team sticking with a goalie here. And I think I'm going to go with Marciano. I just really like him, eh?
Aye.
I think growing up, we had a lot of keepers that were dodgy, man. Even Simon Brown, I didn't even think Graham Stack was that great. He was all right, but he wasn't amazing. Ben Williams was good, but I didn't really like the way it ended with him. I felt like he jumped ship a bit.
Aye.
So I went with Marciano, mate. What about yourself?
I'm gonna stick with Marciano, mate. I think he's been comfortably the best keeper we've had in my lifetime by a country mile.
I would agree, mate. I'd agree, mate. We grew up with some scary, scary players,
some bad ones.
Aye, very bad, very bad.
Well, the next place to go is number 2, mate. I think
this
is a pretty self-explanatory one, mate. I think
100%, mate.
I'll take this one and say David Gray because he scored the goal.
Legend.
Scored that goal.
Legend, mate. Aye, I'd go with episode 2. We'll dedicate to Sir David Gray. Some other interesting names on the list. Kevin McCann.
He was good.
From 07 to 10. So he came through at the same time as Stevenson. He was good, but disappeared off the face of the planet. I think what happened to that guy. But I
like Kevin McCann.
He played some good derby matches for us as well, some really good derby matches.
Whittaker was number 2 at one point.
Whittaker was 2 as well, but got to get to Sir David, eh?
Aye.
100%.
Aye. We go to number 3.
I'll move on to number 3, mate. We'll go through some of the lists, the names here. There might be for some of our older listeners as well. We're obviously going from the year 2000 till now. So there might be some players in the past that you guys can think of, but I was probably too young to remember guys like Ulrich Larsson and that. I was only 6 at the time. So the types of guys I didn't really see growing up. But I think one of the best players I've ever seen at Easter Road, number 3, probably David Murphy.
Aye.
He was absolutely class, man. It was just... Remember the way he used to sit on the barrier as well before he took his throw-in?
Aye.
Don't know if you remember that. He used to sit down before he took his throw-in, but just an all-round very, very, very good and underrated player.
Aye. I'll go for Stephen Whittaker for number 3. David Murphy was class, and I feel like I feel like it'd be awful if we have the same players for each number. But I'll go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I'll go Stephen Whittaker because I felt like that was his spell that he just left in the summer there, and I actually think he was very underappreciated by a lot of Hibs fans in that second spell.
He was, mate. I'll be honest with you, I was one of them, mate. I just thought, do you know why I didn't like having him back? Is because I don't like the idea that it's like they've went away, they've had their career, and it's like I'll just come back to Hibs to retire.
Aye.
I don't know what it is about that because I don't like it, eh?
Aye. No, I totally agree, mate. But I'll go Whittaker and you'll go Murphy, is that right?
Aye.
Right. So number 4.
Happy with that, mate.
Number 4, who you got for 4, mate?
I'm gonna go Chris Hogg, mate. I feel like Hoggy was solid, man. He was a solid defender. He was very underappreciated as well. And I liked Hogg as well. I read something just after he left Hibs, and he said something like the only 3 times he's cried in his life was the day he got married, the day his first child was born, and the day he left Hibs.
Oh wow!
So it was obviously moving into the into his DNA, Hibs and that. So he was a good lad. I like Chris Hogg. I thought he was a solid defender.
Aye.
Aye. What about yourself, mate?
I'm gonna go Hogg too. I thought you would have went for somebody else that shall not be mentioned because I didn't like him at all. But
Big Hanlon. Aye.
I'll go Chris Hogg because again, like Whittaker, I think he was underappreciated by a lot of Hibs fans, and I think he was very, very solid. Very solid.
I think a lot of the listeners will be in disbelief of no Prince Frank Sozzi, but as I said last week on the podcast, mate, I was just too young, eh?
That's why I never picked him as well.
I was only 6 years old at the time, but I hear stories, and I didn't know enough about him. I sort of started with Zambernardi. I seen about Zambernardi. He was class as well.
I liked him. Again, I only saw him for about one season and he was off, so that's why he never made mine.
Aye. And Caldwell was good in there, but I mean, I go to Celtic and that. Yeah, just nah.
Well, we'll move on to number 5, mate.
Number 5. I'm worried ours are going to be the same. So you have a wee look.
I'll say
Tell me who you're going to go for, mate.
Rob Jones for number 5. I think
number 5, right? Good shout. Cup winning captain.
Cup winner. I love Big Jones, mate. I think he was a solid defender.
Yeah, he was very, very good, mate. He was very good. Number 5, I'm probably going to go with Sean O'Hanlon.
Sean O'Hanlon?
Nah, I'm joking, mate.
I was going to say he was utter murder.
He was mince, man.
I did not rate him at all.
Michael Nelson's in there as well. Mark Milligan. Jesus.
I like Big Nels.
Did you? I thought he just lost his way at the end. He was a bit hopeless, man. This is hard, mate, because you've got John Hughes again. I was too young to see. McIntosh too young. Paul Fennick. I do remember Paul Fennick had him in this SPL sticker book. I had that. Mate, I'm going to jump in the bandwagon and go Rob Jones as well. I'm building a good team here, mate.
Aye, a decent 5s team so far, defenders.
I know, but right, the next one's going to be interesting, mate. Number 6, some fantastic number 6s.
Aye.
Ian Murray, Michael Stewart, Brian Kerr scored within 2 minutes at Tynecastle one time. Mike Paik and Big Marv.
Big Marv, aye.
What's your thoughts, mate?
I'm going to go with Ian Murray. I loved Big Nid. I felt like it was a good ending on both times for him. I know out of him and Thompson going to Rangers, I think I respected his decision more than Thompson's because he went on his own terms rather than try to force a move, you know?
Yeah, I'd agree with that, mate. I'd agree with that.
But all defenders for me so far.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Mikey Stewart. I thought it was a good player, mate. I said he scored one of the best goals I've seen at Easter Road as well. That when we played Aberdeen in the Cup, and he caught it on the volley, and then Benji sort of stole the show really when he scored those 2 goals off the bench. But I'll go with Mikey Stewart. Honourable mention there is Marvin Bartley.
That's right, aye.
Big Marv.
We'll move on to number 7, mate, and this one will definitely split opinions. I think.
Mate, this is hard.
Aye, what a few good number 7s. Very, very good number 7s over the years.
Really good. I'm looking at some of these number 7s, and I'm thinking they definitely had another number as well when they first joined Hibs.
Aye.
For example, Scott Brown was 18.
That's right. So was John McGinn, actually.
Aye, I'm pretty sure McGinn had another number here as well, but
McGinn was 18.
It's not coming up on the database here, mate.
Aye.
But I'd agree with I think he was, aye. So you might be able to fit some players in other places as well. So
aye.
You go first, mate.
I'm gonna pick Merwan Zamama for my number 7. Zamama, him and Benji were just a class above the rest. When they came in, like
mate, I was gonna do the same. I'm gonna change it now. I thought you would have chose someone else, mate.
Nah, Zamama was class. I'm only leaving John McGinn out because I think he played better football at 18. So when we get to episode 18, there's mine.
Aye. Oh man, it was a mama, man. He was just a magician. I absolutely loved that, man. Absolutely loved it when him and Benji were at the club.
Aye.
Remember they had the Moroccan hats now at the final and that. Right. He was just class, man.
Aye.
Really liked Samama.
Definitely, mate.
Underrated. Got Horgan, McGinn, Harris, Witherspoon. I can't mind Witherspoon being number 7. That's quite obscure.
I can't mind that. What season was that? What season was that? He was number 7.
He was number 7 during the 2011-2012 season, mate.
That's why I've brushed out my memory, because it's the season we got hammered off Hearts.
Aye. Tom McManus was my first ever most favourite Hibs player, eh?
Aye.
But I'm going to get to Scott Brown. I'll go with Scott Brown.
Good one.
Sort of remembers the era of sort of growing up, going to Easter Road, teenage kicks and that.
Aye.
Was my first sort of introduction to it. So I'll go with Scott Brown. I thought he was class, man.
Aye. And we'll go for this week's episode, number 8. I'll start us with this one. I'm going to go... Well, we've actually, come to think of it, we've not had that many good number 8s over the years, eh? When you think about it.
Over the last sort of couple recent years, I'll just read the list out to you, mate. Clayton Donaldson.
He was all right.
Yeah, bizarre. Jan Torno, Fabian Jan Torno, who I didn't even think played a game for us.
I can't mind him at all.
Patrick Craig.
Oh, he was hopeless.
Edwin de Graaf.
He was the worst player I've seen that season at Hibs.
But did he not score 2? I'm pretty sure he scored 2 goals in Europe for us.
He did, and that's when I thought he's a player, and then he was utter horse after that.
He was Shan, man. I had that debate with a boy on Twitter, George Claros, man. George or Jorge Claros. I thought Claros was a good player.
I loved Claros. He's not the boy I'm picking, though. He's not the boy I'm picking.
You got Scott Robertson in there, and then, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, Halberg.
Aye.
AKA Slivka. So,
I'm going to go for Scotty Robertson. Purely
underrated, mate.
Purely on the fact that T-shirt you've got on, mate, he was a very underrated player that season.
He was brilliant, mate.
And there was 2 games that really summed it up for me, and it was an obscure one when we were away to Queen of the South that season. It was about January time, and he scored an absolute beauty outside the box curler. And I just think he was very underrated, and he scored a beauty against Rangers at Ibrox as well when he chipped the keeper, and he played well every game I've seen him that season. So I'm going to go with Scott Robertson for number 8.
I mean, he bossed the match as well alongside Scott Allen when we beat the
that's right.
You saw Zombies 4-0 at Easter Road. He was class, man. You're looking at Kevin Thompson and Grant Brevner as well.
Aye.
I'm going to get to... oh, man. I can't have an episode about losing to Rangers and choose Kevin Thompson. Eh?
No, you can't.
You know what I mean? And then putting out a tweet saying he's no Hibby and that.
Aye.
I'll go Claros, mate. I really liked Claros when he was at Hibs. I thought he was a cracking player.
Aye, there we go. Good.
I thought he was a good player.
Good players so far, mate. And episode.
It's not a bad team.
Episode 9 next week.
Team, mate.
I've got Marciano, Gray, Whittaker, Hogg, Jones, Murray, Zamama, Robertson so far.
That's a good team, mate. I think I'm doing this off the top of my head. I've got Marciano, Murphy left back. I'm pretty sure I've got Jones and Hogg in the middle with Gray right back, and I've got Brown and Claros in the middle.
I've got a very weird.
Maybe Claros doesn't defend that well there.
I think I've got 6 defenders. So we're going for a 6-1-1 so far because the mama's more.
Fair enough.
We'll be interesting to see the finished 11, and we'll make a formation out of that.
Next week's going to be a classic one, mate.
Next week number 9. That's going to be a
good number 9. Be good for the listeners as well. Listeners, if you're listening in and you want to tweet us your team based on the kit numbers that we've had so far. I've had 8 episodes, so tweet us your 8 best players. And we'll see what you think.
A special episode next week, Calvin. We've got the boys for one of the Livy podcasts coming on next week, so that'll be good.
It is indeed, mate. It's the Almond View podcast.
Right.
We're teaming up with Almond View podcast to bring you a preview and analysis of the Hibs Livingston match, which is going to take place. So if you have not actually checked them out, they're a very good little podcast, mate. The guys over there, I've listened to a few of them. They're dead funny. They talk about all things Livingston. Which, to be honest with you, obviously I'm a Hibs fan and that, but I'm all for that, mate. I'm really a big fan of supporting your local team. So the fact that these guys are out there doing that and they're putting content out there based on Livingston, I think is credible, mate. It's honourable, and I really do like that.
Looking forward to having them on next week. But before we finish, we'll get to a few of our listener questions this week are decent ones.
Good, mate. I'll let you just fire them over.
So the first one from Jack Gillies, a couple of weeks ago, he was on the podcast, if you remember. He says, will we ever beat Rangers or Celtic under Jack Ross?
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
I think it's just a matter of time, mate. Just a matter of time. Been unlucky in a few games and that, and I think it's a matter of time. We'll beat them.
I think we'll beat Celtic last day of the season. So, Jack, yes, we will beat them. Have every bit of faith in the boys.
Jack, let us know what you think as well, mate. Tweet us and let us know what you think. I think we'll beat them.
And listeners, tweet us the answer to these too if you've got a strong opinion on them. Let us know. Next one from our pin winner, Lewis McKinnon. He says, it's a good one, actually. Should other referees from a different league be brought in for bigger games as they won't support any of the clubs?
What's your thoughts, mate?
I think we should have, for bigger games, outside referees that didn't really know much about the games like Hibs Livingston. That's not a big game. Hibs Rangers, Hibs Celtic Rangers. I think it would add an extra dynamic to the games to have an outside referee in. What's your thoughts, mate?
It's happened before.
I remember that when
it's happened before. I've seen that and I remember that. I'm trying to find it now. It must have been about 2010. It has happened before.
There was that year the referees went on strike up here and we got European referees, and I think the standard of refereeing that day was amazing.
We got I was like a ref from Greece or something, and I think he done it was Hibs versus St Mirren, and I think it was 1-1. It was probably the worst game of football I've ever seen. The ref was probably thinking, Christ, I'm never coming back here again, and that was awful.
I would have outside refs come in for them.
I don't see why not, because when we played that cup final against Hearts, man, and Thompson was the referee, it's just a joke, mate. It's a total joke, like how they got that penalty in the 5-1 final and that. And there's a few other times he's done us over as well. So I'd be for it for the bigger games.
I would. So the first one from our mate Alistair Taylor in Northern Ireland. Good to hear from him again. With 4 games to go and 4 points behind, do you think the Sheep can pass us into third?
I think there's a chance of it. I do. I do think they might be able to if we. It's really going to come down to I think it's going to come down to the head-to-head.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they managed to nick it. I mean, from what I've heard in the match report and that from them is that they've been very poor, even though they beat St Johnstone there. They were poor. But let's not be fooled. I think every game in the top 6 is going to be really hard. I think Livingston's going to be a tough game. I think St Johnstone's going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
Well, they've proven that over the last couple of years as well. A bit of a bogey team, mate. You're never guaranteed anything off Celtic, even though they are quite bad just now. I mean, they just bumped Livy 6-0 at the weekend there, so that's another tough game. And then Aberdeen head-to-head. I do think it'll be a squeaky bum time. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. Like, I think we'll really have to work for it. I think we deserve it. I think we do deserve it, but it's not done yet. So I'm not overly. I don't want to say I'm overly confident just because I've seen all this. I've seen stuff like this before, mate.
Yeah.
And it's as we said when Murray came on the podcast, Stephen, that it's the hope that kills you. So I think maybe one more win might see us over. If we can beat Livingston at the weekend, I think that'll spur us on. And I think we'll be in a really good position. But it's ours to lose, and if we do lose it, then we've only got ourselves to blame because I think Aberdeen are awful right now.
Yeah.
What's your opinion, mate?
I totally agree, mate. I think It's 4 points. There's nothing in that. That's Aberdeen winning and drawing and us losing. So I don't think it's over yet. And I do think they can. I do think they can pass us. I don't think they will, but I think they can. I think we'll finish third, but I think it'll be very, very close.
I agree, mate.
Aye. So to answer your question, Alistair, yes, they can, but do I think they will? No. And that's the general consensus there. So next one's a topical one. From Alistair again. Why are referees favouring those blue-nosed Huns? He added an extra word that I can't say live on podcast. I'm still raging about our disallowed goal.
Fair play to him as well, because there's loads of these Huns in Northern Ireland, so it's like there's a lot of Huns in Northern Ireland, so it's good that he's sticking up for us over there. Good man. It's always been the way, mate. It's always been the way.
I'm not really sure if it's anything other than that's really all that happens at Ibrox. You never get in.
Nah, I think the refs are potentially too scared to make a big decision against them.
Yep.
And it's like what was it Brian Rice that's the manager doing at Hamilton said?
I was just about to bring the same point up, mate. Just about to bring that up.
He says no one makes a big. Kenny obviously went Raj last week and was saying that nobody sort of said anything because it's just Hamilton, because they're just a wee team, and he's got a point. He's absolutely got a point. Because if Hamilton get a good decision, they're going to get. There's no that fan base to sort of back up, and there isn't like the social media outlet in that as well to sort of say, can get behind and really bring this point to the forefront. Whereas for us, yes, to a certain extent, but nobody wants to upset the, as I refer to them as two ugly sisters in Glasgow. Like nobody wants to upset them, eh? So I do think there's a bit of that. I think if you make a mistake on that big stage and you're doing a Celtic Rangers match or a Celtic whatever match and it ends up costing them, it will be over the news, the STV, and it'll be a big talking point on sports scene and that, eh? So I do think some of the refs bottle it.
And I think it goes back to Lucy's question about the other referees. I think if you bring a referee that's not from Scotland, they'll not care about this. Oh, it's Celtic and Rangers, I think there is. I wonder if there is an element in the referee's mind that, I can't upset these two because they're the big two. But I agree with Alistair. I think that the referees did favour Rangers on Sunday there. But I read a crazy stat on Sky Sports yesterday, mate. Rangers have they conceded a penalty all season. Does that not say something about the standard they referee in here?
I think the thing is as well, it's like you look at some of those decisions, like it would never happen unless the shoe was on the other foot with Old Firm.
No.
Like let's just even look at the one where it was Celtic. There's no referees, right? But it's like Celtic go to Dubai, bring back the coronavirus, and then they'll no test the players on the night as well.
Aye.
Like if that was Hibs, the game would have been cancelled. And they would give the points to Celtic.
Let's be honest, mate. The government wouldn't have sanctioned it for us to go.
No. And even if you look back at the point, sorry to interrupt you, mate, but if you look back at the point as well, now I can't really remember the teams at the start of the season, but there was a breach in the COVID regulations.
Aberdeen.
And it was Aberdeen broke the rules and they had to miss a couple of matches.
Kelly broke them.
They had to miss a couple of matches. Kelly broke them. I think it was St Mirren that broke them.
did as well, aye.
But what they done with St Mirren, what they done with Aberdeen and Celtic that broke it, because I think it was Bolingoli that went to Spain and came back.
Right.
Went to Spain and came back. They just got matches postponed so they could replay them at a later date. But they should have hammered them there and then and said, no happening. You have to forfeit that match, and the 3 points should have went to their team.
That's
but they've done that to St
Mirren. Exactly. And
so you can't sit there and honestly say that they didn't favour the Old Firm, because they know how important the points are to the Old Firm, especially in the terms of a 10 in a row season, mate.
Aye.
There was no way they would ever be ballsy enough to do something like that.
No,
but they should have.
And that's the difference between Celtic and Rangers and the rest of the country. Because if we wanted to go on a break, no, it's not happening. It's only Hibs. Celtic want to go to Dubai. That's fine, on you go. Come back. Shane Duffy left the camp to go home for a family emergency, which is fine. You know, I think something happened back in Ireland, so he went there and said, like, no, he'll not play against Hibs because he's left the camp and he's not travelled with us. What does he do the Monday night? Plays against Hibs. Celtic should be getting pulled up about that. But aye, the standard of the refereeing in this country is shocking, and there's no really,
mate.
Aye,
I've said it before, mate. But see if we could get rid of the two of them, like if they were to go down south or something, mate. The SPL would be one of the most competitive leagues in the world. I honestly believe that.
Because you'd have a different winner each league, each year. Sorry.
Yeah, each year. I mean, Aberdeen would up there, Hearts would be up there, Hibs would be up there. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Kilmarnock were up there. Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
Like, it would be a very competitive league, I think. Anyway.
Aye. Well, we'll move on to our last question. The podcast from Simon McKenzie. He asks good questions every week.
Aye, good lad. Keep them coming.
He says, if VAR was introduced into the Scottish football system, what would you like to see changed about it before it was added? Personally, I didn't want VAR into the game because I think it's ruined football. But if I'm not. I think my biggest thing with it is at the World Cup 3 years ago, it was brilliant because there wasn't these stupid lines added like, oh, his armpit's offside, so he's offside. That's I think that would be the one thing I'd change if it was to come to Scotland. I think it would just be get rid of the silly wee lines like if you're offside, you're offside. If it's visible,
I think it's got to be your whole body. Like, see if it's like, so I've seen some and it's like someone's hand is offside. I think that's harsh, man. But see if it's like their whole body's in front of the line, like arguably, then I think you can't really complain about it. But I think it would be good for like that goal line technology and that. Like, I don't understand why. I mean, going over, like, I mean, Hibs, I mean, put it back to the 1-0 Rangers beat us at Easter Road, and it's like there's been a stamp, and they can get the replay on the telly quick enough, Ken, for the audience watching at home. So why they can't just go over and have a look, Ken? Someone could even be sitting on the side with a stream. You know what I mean? Go over and have a go over. Just go over and have a look at that, and you can say, "Christ, look, that is a clear stamp, actually." Morelos has stood on Porteous, Ken. That's a red card.
I think that would be good. I agree. That's the one thing I would bring in. If it is coming in, I would say you've got to be consistent because you've got to be consistent with the offsides, the goals, and also the red card incidents. Or, you know, I think that would be the one thing I'd add. Just a bit more consistency with it because I don't think it's very consistent.
I would agree with you, mate. I'd absolutely agree with you.
Aye, so there's all of our listener questions, mate. Some good ones this week. Some topical ones as well. So just before we end the podcast, Calvin, do you want to give Hibby Pins a wee shout out, mate?
Definitely, mate. I just want to say well done again to Lewis McKinnon, who was our winner of the Derek Riordan pin. We've already got that sent out to you, Lewis, alongside a sticker as well. Derek Riordan sticker for you to enjoy as well. There's going to be another competition coming soon. We'll get that sorted. We'll post a little question out for you guys to answer. You can maybe even tag a friend or something. We'll see how we do it this week. But keep your eyes peeled in our feed. You can find us at Strong Opinion Hibs on Twitter. And again, if you are interested in the pins, you can go to highbpins.bigcartel.com. If you go to that website, you'll see that there's a Russell Latapy pin. And also the Derek Riordan pin available there as well for £6.50, which is a cracking deal because they're actually really well made. And it's a really nice piece of memorabilia as well to have. So you can get both of them there. If you do decide to go to the website and use that, you can use the promo code SOH podcast, which is ourselves, the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast, and that will get you 10% off your order. And it also helps support us as well. So I would do that, guys. If you also want to, they do competitions themselves on Twitters. The High B Pins, they do competitions as well. So you can look at High B's Pins on Twitter, and you can also enter competitions there as well. So that's excellent if you're interested in doing so. Head over there. And as I said, the guy over there, Jimmy, has been absolutely brilliant with us. He sent us some stuff to do competitions with. So just keep your eyes peeled in the feed, guys.
Aye, there we are. So our next podcast will be with the Almond View podcast. But until then, enjoy your weekend and hopefully Hibs win on Sunday against Stranraer. Cheers.
Perfect. Cheers, guys.